All right. So, welcome to the Inkyapper Podcast, a podcast by Team Arcana. I'm your host, Vo. With me today, we have Christian and Nate. How goes it, Christian?
Oh, we're doing great. I'm out here trying to prep for our upcoming rotation format by trying to score a second place to get a waffle maker to maintain the household appliance warrior status. What about you, Nate?
I am doing even better than you probably because I did just win as my first set champs of the set this last weekend. And I myself am also brewing to take that waffle maker from you and paint it gold, and then I will become the new household appliance warrior. But I'm doing great.
It's kind of crazy that you say that because we have a team channel that we can share deck lists to, and I have not been sharing that many rotation deck lists solely because I know you're trying to take the waffle maker from
I am
me.
just
It's
that
kind of
confident
crazy.
in my deck list. I'm just that
Yeah.
confident.
All right. And then over in Vol world over here, my daughter turns 1 on Sunday, so just in 2 days. So that's
Congratulations.
that's very exciting for me. But and I mean, obviously, I get the last word, so I'm obviously going to be taking the waffle maker from these two. So
I have not seen a Vo waffle maker format list. I'm just saying.
It's
I'm
because
in the
he's going
same
to
boat
buy
as
his own when
Christian.
he can't win his own.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No. Okay, so let's get into the big news of the week. Gen Con. We're gonna talk a little bit more about Gen Con later, but there's so many reveals that happened this week from Gen Con. One of those being the Ravensburger Lorcana puzzles. What are you guys' thoughts on
Hmm.
those? I know they're not really TCG related, but they're Lorcana related. So I thought that I'd bring it up anyways because I think the puzzles are kind of cool.
I'm gonna let
Yeah.
Christian go first. Oh, go ahead.
It's funny. Well, you pointed to the left, and you're to my left, so it looked like you're pointing to
Oh,
the fourth person that's
yeah.
here,
All right.
which is hilarious. Yeah, I can share my thoughts on these
Mhm.
puzzles. I think puzzles are cool, and I think the art looks amazing, and that's pretty much all I got to say on the puzzles. I think it's kind of like a fun blend between like how Ravensburger is like this toy slash puzzle company, and they're kind of like trying to merge it all together. But what's more fun is trying to figure out if puzzle theory is correct, and I think that's kind of the bigger hype about it, right?
To go into what I think about said puzzles. One, I have no toleration for puzzles. I think puzzles are horrible. I have no interest in that, to be honest. There is a puzzle hanging behind me of our Jujutsu Kaisen thing. I'll give you a hint who did that in my house. It was not me. It was my wife, and she loves puzzles, so I am very excited for her. The other big thing that I like about the puzzles, without going into puzzle theory, is it's just nice when there are things that help them make money off of the game that are not just I don't know, we don't need $60 Tamatoas all the time, right? We could just have puzzles, and that'll be another way that we can supplement income for the game. So I'm kind of happy about that. That's kind of my thoughts on puzzles.
You know, I'm personally not big into puzzles myself, but I'm more excited that I don't know if all of them do, or at least some of them are gonna come with the Mickey promo card. I'm a sucker for promo cards, and I'm gonna be all over the promo cards. And then since I'm gonna have the puzzles, I don't know. We might make some for fun videos for that. I think it'd be kind of fun. Like um, everybody hasn't met the rest of the team yet, but when I was doing the numbers out, we should have like an even number for some of the puzzles, and maybe we'll have like a competition on which duo can finish a puzzle the quickest, and there's either going to be a reward for the winners or a punishment for the slowest. I haven't decided that yet, but I think that'll be fun to do.
I'm gonna go ahead and vote no on punishment, please.
um, and then so those are the puzzles. The other thing that was announced and happened for the first time was the collector quest. Um, I I haven't looked into it like too much, but this is another one of those things that I'm super interested in because there's just all these promo cards that come with it. I don't believe that there was a special edition one at Gen Con, which is the first collector quest that happened, but up in I believe on the Disney Treasure cruise ship, they've already done some. um, promos were there where they're like all pirate themed. Um, I got to figure out how to get my hands on one of those. And then the other one they've announced that's up and coming is at the end of this month at Disney California Adventure at in California. They're going to be doing the Belle Accomplished Mystic, and I kind of need a play set. I play Amethyst a lot, and she's kind of a staple, and I feel like she's going to be real good coming up. So, what are your guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, I think like the concept of the collection quest is super cool. I'm actually really jealous of the people at Gen Con who got to do this because it's like, I'm a competitive player, but there's something that really like scratches like a TCG player itch to like get like a list of like 6 cards and say go find them. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll scavenge. I'm a scavenger by nature. I'll go do that. And like it's cool to like see some of the Gen Con videos where you're like seeing all these people like try to trade out and try to like get these things. I would love to like I do kind of hope like there's like some way like they can like put out like official like rules for it for like if stores wanted to do that like on like a release weekend. Like I would actually have a ton of fun if it was like come like an hour early to a draft and like play some collection quests with some folks like 8 people or whatever and try to see if you can collect your question and stuff like that. I'm guessing it needs to be way more than 8 people for what it's worth. I could imagine it's like it worked really well there because there was like 50 plus people or so. So like the variety of cards you're probably going to see is just going to be helpful. But it's something I would really like to see. Yeah, the bell is kind of crazy that the Disneyland adventure, like Disneyland California Adventure, is going to be providing. It was our first instance actually of seeing Belle reprinted, and what a good thing to find, frankly, in my opinion.
Um, Kind of my thoughts on it are it's just another great way to engage with the game. Like I'm just a big fan of like anything that you get to do more stuff with Lorcana is great, right? Like only you can only like spike so many tournaments or play like go 0-3 so many times before you're like, oh my god, please let me do like something Lorcana related with my favorite game, but like not just not deal with more aggro or whatever. But anyways, no, I'm very excited about this. It's just like another way to like show Lorcana to people too, especially like I don't know, like I got my mom into Lorcana, right? This is a great way to do something to like engage with people who aren't just like what's the best deck right now, like and then obviously that Bell promo is just gorgeous. I mean, I would want them, but my wallet says that's probably not a great idea because I'm not going to California Adventure anytime soon. But it is very cool and very exciting.
Yeah, I think just to kind of speak more on like the way to like a better like more ways to like engage in the game. I think it's like pretty sweet. Like I have a niece and nephew that like Lorcana, but this is like my brother's kids, and me and my brother have played TCGs for a long time. But I've always been the one that's like enjoyed like tournaments and like gameplay and all stuff, and he's always been a big collector, and his kids have really kind of inherited that as well. And like a collection quest thing seems like a perfect way for like his kids and him to enjoy the game of Lorcana in a completely different facet. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited, and I'm kind of jealous. I'm like when I first heard of it, I'm like looking up tickets. I'm like, all right, how much is it gonna cost me to go on a cruise and just play Lurkana or like fly out to, you know, Disneyland and do this? So I was like, oh man, that's kind of expensive. I might be saving money if I just bought it secondary market, but that's okay. Like I know this is our first episode, but if for some reason somebody out there is watching and they got some pull, here in Minnesota, we got the Mall of America. It's the biggest mall in the United States. That'd be a great location to have another Collector Quest event happening.
We can get our promo Sergeant Tibbs from the Mall of America Collection Quest for Minnesota.
Promo
Mhm.
tips, let's go.
All right, and then another big thing. I know Christian, you're super excited for this. Was the Fabled Set Championship playmat. We saw the card way early. A lot of people were um, kind of making their own version of their playmats online, but we finally got to see it. What are your thoughts?
So when I saw that, I immediately like my first instinct was just sorrow because like as somebody who travels all over the place to go to playset champs, I was just like there is not going to be any fun jank at these set champs. This is going to be violent. The only time you are going to have a chance is when people are at DLCs if they got tickets. But anyways, uh, the playmat is just gorgeous. Like I love the purple lettering on the champion part of it. And then just the dragon fire all across it. Like you just could not like they really knocked it out of the park with this. Like I loved all of the set champs mats that I've seen, but like this is one where we're gonna be like it's on, right? Like there will be like tears shed over this, but like in a good way and in a bad way, you know. So like I'm very excited about this mat. Um, Obviously gonna try my hardest to get one, even if that means I have to play not good cards, but that's beside the point. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like I was, I've always been a big fan of the Stitch set championships because they just felt like there was more stakes. They felt more competitive, almost like more grueling. Like not to make it sound like unfriendly or anything like that, but there was just like there was just so much into the tournaments at the time, and they've slowly kind of went away from that, which I think is fair. Like I think the Stitch events were just such an extreme version of prizing for set champs that Ravensburger probably didn't intend to be so insane for what it's worth. And then like come like the Ursula ones, it started to like it lowered, but it still maintains some value. Then they like with the Mirabelle ones, and it's kind of been like on the same flat, lower flat trajectory, unfortunately. And I could talk a lot about like my opinions on set champs and whatnot, but this feels like the first time since the Ursula set champs that it feels like, oh, this is a card that not only is like somewhat playable, like effect wise, right? Like I'd say the last like highly playable card was the Ursula, our second set champs ever, and we're now going into like set champ number 6 or 7 with the fabled one. Whether how playable Dragon is in the next format, like that card will like the card is good enough. You know what I mean? It's an iconic card, not rarity, but like in the history of the IP and whatnot, and the art looks amazing, right? Like you said, I think people are really going to be going hard for these like playmats. Like for me, I've been playing a lot of jank at some of these recent set champs. There's no jank that I plan to play at these, especially because unfortunately they're going to be all in October, where there's 2 DLCs that weekend, and for some of us that that are fortunate of us to go to DLCs during that time, we're gonna be missing out a lot of chance on these set champs here.
Yeah, no, it's I'm glad that you brought it up because just a little spoilers, but not spoilers. Me and Christian will be, well, at least we at this point we plan on going to DLC Bologna in Italy. We have our tickets secured, and everything, and I do believe all three of us have tickets to Milwaukee, at this point. So we'll like
Yes.
best worst case scenario, me and Christian will be missing 2 of the weekends, and I believe for specifically Fabled, there's only 4 weekends again. We were a little bit spoiled with Jafar having 5 weekends, but there's only 4 weekends for Fabled. Um, but I mean, we can't complain too much, right? I mean, we get to go to DLCs.
And then I'll just add that I am so excited for the weekend of Bologna. While you guys are eating meatballs and like exerting characters, I will be in Minnesota trying my best to earn a Maleficent mat. Please.
But
We really should have like a team in our Discord. We should have a channel for team crash outs for when we lose in the finals at these, because I think that might be important. How we got cooked, right?
That is an excellent idea. I definitely think that's a great idea. All right, go ahead, Bo. Sorry.
no, you're good. I think Christian just wants to channel my anger towards another channel rather than at him, when I have my crash outs, which are
Listen,
very
we all
real
crash
crash
out.
outs.
I will.
We
I will
all
say
give
this.
real crash
I'll say
outs.
this. Christian has the most iconic crash outs that I have seen in our group. Like every time, it's always whole new world. Like I'll be so sad
Always.
that card is rotated out because Christian will not get to yell about it anymore. But
Nah,
You're so correct. It's crazy. I have such a love hate with that card. I love to hate Whole New World when I play it and when I play against it.
no, just wait. It's only happened once, and I was lucky enough to be there to experience it. But you have to wait for I feel like it's gonna happen a lot in Fabled. Just wait for the red steel crash outs. That's gonna be the one.
The round 8 red steel crash out is also incredibly real.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Read your
Uh,
cards, guys. Know what they do.
but one last thing that I wanted to say about the fabled set champ playmat. I believe and I don't have a picture of it here, but I believe they took the wording champion off, and I myself am a big fan of that. Or did they not, Christian? You're shaking your head.
It's still on there.
It's still on there?
It's still
Oh,
on there.
I
maybe I
even
saw
But
like
I will
a.
say it's like closer to the Ursula set champ playmat where it's like it's not just the same font that just says
Mm,
champion. It's like it's like thematically like kind of fontized, I guess, for
like
lack of a better
yeah,
word.
that was one of the things that I
Characterized.
actually mentioned was I love the purple lettering because it's like right up there, so it's not gaudy and gold like that's but it's
Mm-hmm.
that purple lettering and it's like very beautiful.
all
Big
right,
fan of
then
It's
ignore
not
my
like Comic
statement there.
Sans.
I'm spitting false facts out here.
it. Straight
Spitting
All
fake
pseudo
right.
news.
facts.
Oh yay.
And then
Crazy.
last big thing news kind of goes right into this nicely is this is today is Friday that we're recording this. This is the last weekend of Jafar set championships. So good luck to everybody out there that is still working to get, their prizing. I believe at least between the three of us, and we all have a playmat of our own. And the rest of the team, I believe we almost everybody has one now.
I
I think there
think
might only be one
I
or
think
two.
I think Jeebus and Zach don't have playmats if I remember right.
Whoa, whoa, spoilers. They don't know who's on the team yet.
Oh, I'm so
I'm just kidding.
cut that
I'm
out,
just
cut that
kidding.
out, cut that out.
Edit
Cut it
it
out.
out.
Individual 4 doesn't have one.
But I'll be playing both days this weekend. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'll be playing both days. Me and Hannah will both be playing both days. I think we're all going to be at the same one on Sunday at Champlain, but uh, I don't know. I don't know what the plans are for Saturday. I know like because me and Hannah like live pretty far from like most of like where the core of game stores is for Minnesota. Like any chance we can go to like a set champ that's like a 20-minute drive, we kind of always just take it. Like
Mm-hmm.
every set champ is at least an hour plus for us to drive, so it's like we got to do this right. So we're gonna be going to a store closer to us, Gamers Den. I don't know about you guys though, and I've been playing a lot of Jank this one first half, and now I'm like, you know, I'm not sure if like some people are like Jank masters, right? And they can just like like channel like playing awful cards all the time, and I can only do that to like a certain extent. I got a bit of a weaker stomach for Jank. I enjoy it, but too much of it is too much, right? I'm a little Jank intolerant, so I've been playing more like actual serious decks for a little bit. Maui Shark is like my favorite card in the game, so I'll probably just end up playing that again, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're not all built like Scott Markison, so we can't just succeed with jank all the time. How about you, Nate? I know you're in southern Minnesota. You're about as far as it gets from everybody else.
Yeah, so Saturday I mean I would have played Saturday, but I have other obligations to do for coaching somebody for jiu-jitsu. But on Sunday I will be going to Champlin and I was gonna play some serious jank and then after playtesting it I was like I don't want to do this for 4 or 5 rounds. Like I was just like very miserable like playing against my friend just like being like I if I get Hades what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So we're not
Hmm.
doing that, but we're gonna probably play something that I haven't played yet. I know there's a couple decks that I haven't played that are like actual like competitive meta decks, and that's really what I've been doing a lot this set champs is like I think I've only played like Ruby Amethyst twice, despite it being my favorite deck. I just like I mean obviously I've played two Diablo decks, and I never registered Diablo in a set champs before this, and that card is both miserable and awesome all the time. So like, it's been interesting. So we'll see if I end up playing it again this weekend. I'm still not sure. Not sure what I'm gonna play yet, but definitely gonna play on Sunday.
It's good that you got it out of your system before he gets rotated out, right?
Yeah, getting Diablo out of your system is like getting a tapeworm out of your system.
Hmm. All right, so that's basically all of like the big news that happened this week. Let's get into it is reveal season. So just this week, like I think we were doing the math on it last night. Over 130 cards now have been revealed, And we're not gonna, we're not gonna go through every single one of these reveals. You guys can go look at it online. I'll probably post it down in the comments, a link to all the reveals if you guys really want to see the list of them. But we're just gonna go over a few that we've kind of picked out that are either our favorites or just just a card that we kind of want to talk about. We all picked two of them, and I suppose I'll go here first. So everybody kind of knows. Everybody who knows me kind of knows I'm a filthy Gen 1er. I've been playing Lorcana since the beginning. So the reprint that I chose is obviously the Hades that now got the enchanted treatment. I was floored when I saw that card. That card is so amazing. Um, and at least locally here, I'm not known as like a Blurple player, but like when I ventured out and like played in like other states, Blurple has been sleeved up a bunch, so it's been seen out there a lot more. And Hades just always puts in work in Blurple. That card is forever going to be a staple, especially now that it got reprinted. What did you guys think about it? Especially the Enchanted. It looks so good. I'm gonna need a playset.
Enchanted bomb. Like, there's no question about it. I don't think there's like an enchanted that does not look good so far that's been revealed. I think they're hitting like a really good peak in terms of like enchanteds and like the epic cards too, right? Like some of the cards on our list also have epic versions, which I think is like I like more than I initially thought I was going to when I first like heard that like these epic rarities were going to be revealed and whatnot. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Hades reprint. It feels like it, like, not to get too into the weeds about it, but it feels like this reveal season they've done a really good job of like printing cards that for the most part were like overshadowed during their time in existence by other things within the same set, right? I think Hades maybe a little less so, but he feels just like a really just good design card, right? He's got good stats. He's uninkable because of course he is. Like giving your opponent an ink to remove something is it's like a good trade off. Like you really feel it. But I'm curious if like that's like gonna be as felt going into this format. Especially with like I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are about this. Like Hades versus Maleficent Dragon with them both being in gonna be in the format, right? Like we saw like in the beginning of the game, I would say Dragon was easily like more like common of a card to see in like the first few sets. And that might just be by virtue of the secondary colors that are paired with them just being so good. But lately we've seen just so much more Hades in the Blurple decks, obviously, even in like the red blue like TKB list, like they're running Hades instead of Dragon, right? Do you think like that trend is going to continue in that we're going to see Hades like in comparison to those two because we're not seeing a whole bunch of spot removal? Like Hades versus Dragon, do we think Hades is just going to be like the better one 9 times out of 10 when you're deck building? What do you guys think about that?
So I would say that I'm in the camp of I was actually I was driving on our way to Kansas to visit some family when Kayla had mentioned me about the unofficial League of Hades, and my first thought was no, please no. And the only reason I say that is I do think that to answer your question, Maleficent versus Hades, Hades is just so efficient for what he does. Like 7 is that number where you're like, I mean, we're talking just 2 more than a Let It Go by itself, and it is on one of the most formidable bodies that I can think of on a card. 3/6 Quest for 2, like every time that guy comes down, it is very much so a fair trade-off, but like I like it is so hard to even remove that guy. I mean, thankfully there's no Fox as far as we know currently, so they won't be bouncing him again, but like that card, I mean, if you want to play a slow deck next format, you've got to be able to either deal with or play that guy, in my opinion. And then obviously that Enchanted was like an immediate like get the wallets out, boys. We're putting money down on that. We're getting a loan. We're getting a loan for this Enchanted. I mean, they're gorgeous. I bet in person it's gonna look incredible. So that's kind of my thoughts on Hades.
All right, so first of all, I just want to point out, Christian, that your bias was showing there a little bit. Having to choose between Maleficent Dragon and Hades. Do you really think Ruby Sapphire is gonna survive rotations? Oh man, we got some Is that some copium over there?
For what it's worth, it is pure copium. But it's like kind of like the interesting thing though, right? It's like
Hmm.
because they're so similar in like in terms of the effect, but the two less ink is really important, right? It's a huge difference, right?
It really is, and I don't know. I just from my like initial thoughts from this set, it feels like the game's gonna be much faster. And when I say faster, I mean in terms of like lower pressure. I guess some people call it aggro, but I don't think specifically it's gonna be aggro that's going to be um like it's not gonna be like that type of lower pressure. It's just gonna be constant lower pressure where the game might end not on turns, 4, 5, and 6, but like, a little bit later than that, maybe like on turn like 10, where it's a little bit more mid-game focused. With what I since Be Prepared and really all board wipes have not seemed to have made it. I think the control is specifically like Ruby Sapphire control is going to look drastically different. And if anything, I don't believe it's going to be a control. It's going to be a very mid-range blue red type of, making more fair one-on-one trades and everything. That's my opinion on it, anyways. But I'm Team Hades. Although the new Maleficent card looks really nice, I'd love an excuse to get to play her.
That's really what it comes down to. Is I'm gonna get these sweet participation Maleficent cards. I really want to play with them, right?
So
And like it feels like she's the closest like playable card in a long time for these set champs. Not to I don't want to get too deep into the woods with like deck view site before we were talking about like the cards that we're excited about, but I agree with you on your thoughts of Ruby Sapphire. I actually think the Ruby Sapphire like weird burn variant that's been like kind of caused like a couple waves in the middle of the set champ season could be like realistically like a way that Ruby Sapphire like survives this rotation, ironically, right? Like you said, like this weird tempo burn mid range deck, which is pretty sweet.
I was just gonna say that this is the first time the participation promo doesn't just feel like something I'm gonna stuff in my box and not worry about later.
Yeah.
That is true. So my other card, a non-reprint card that I chose, and I don't think it's gonna surprise anybody, is the Circle of Life. We have, I believe this is our first legendary song in Amber. It is Inkable. It's an 8 drop, and it's a sing together 8 cost, and it just says play any card from your or any character from your discard. I feel like there's just so much potential for this card. Like with all the powerful singers in Amber already. Specifically for me, I'm thinking like Amber Steel. Like you have like Mulan on one where you can draw and then pitch like just an insane like just for absurdity's sake, we're gonna say the new 10 drop Mickey Mouse. You drop that into your discard. Next, probably like on turn like 3 or 4 is I think what we were mathing it out. You could just play it for free with the Sing Together effect, and I don't know how you come back from that if that ever gets off. It's kind of insane on turn 4. What do you guys think of the new card?
So I'll go into this a little bit. As a former Magic the Gathering player, one of my favorite archetypes is called Reanimator, and you basically do exactly this, right? You're pitching things, you're drawing cards and ditching the cards you don't want to get them back with something big like a Circle of Life type of effect. And I think that this effect is going to be very polarizing. It is either going to be very, very strong, or you're not going to see it ever unless you're like playing at a set chance where somebody is like kind of just doing something fun. I think I'm leaning towards really strong. I don't know how crazy consistent it'll be. Like I think like we have the draw power to do that, especially if we get like one or two more looters in certain spots. But I don't know for sure. I don't think we'll be getting back Mickey's. I think we want something inkable, probably realistically. I'm not gonna go too in depth in the deck building weeds here, but I loved this card when I first saw it. It speaks to me in ways that a non-Ruby Amethyst card hasn't in a while. But I think that this card is very interesting and is going to create like one of the really important things too is we don't have a lot of crazy ways to interact with the discard pile. So like even if you're not doing this on turn 3, like if you're doing this like anytime later on, like you're just getting so much value out of this possibly. So I'm like really into this card and I'm excited to see what it does and hopefully not lose too much to it, but we'll see. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, I'm on Dreamborn right now looking at like the cards that we can potentially get back with like Circle of Life because like you kind of like want to see like what's the ceiling for a card like this, right? And I think like 10 cost Mickey's the coolest, right? Being able to do that, but that's like the Exodia hand, right? To like have like I'm gonna get like a Rhino, then I'll shift the Rhino, and then like I'll play like or like play Rhino, play Troubadour, and then on turn 3 I'll play Mulan, draw and discard a card, shift Rhino, and then we'll sing the Circle of Life to get back like the Mickey. So like you could do it on turn 3, right? But like it requires so much to do that, especially as like an uninkable bomb. And I know that was just like an example, but I think that's like a fair ceiling to look at because when you kind of like look at the rest of the like the bodies that you're getting, it's like what else are you like kind of getting? Like Vincenzo Santorini is like a card that kind of speaks to me as like a great card to like just cheat out like on turn like 4 or 5 in like an amber steel deck that has like singers attached to it, which seems like pretty cool. And the steel works because there's like a lot of ways to loot stuff into the yard. I think green Emerald has like 2 looters now that could effectively do this. We got the Leaning Tower of Chiza guy from the Goofy movie, God rest his soul, and Yzma from Arcasia's Island, as ways to like draw and discard effects. And even then, like I'm not sure what you're like trying to get out of here. I think the effect is cool though. I just worry like the payoff isn't actually as insane as it is until you hit like the 4% of games. Otherwise, at least it's inkable, right? At least it's inkable.
Just something I wanted to add to that is like that's the biggest thing I've noticed in Lorcana in general. Cheating something into play doesn't win you the game like it does in a game like Magic the Gathering, for example, because like you can put as big of a body into play as you want. That guy still quests for like Mickey quests for 5, like sure, but like your average like card that you're like, okay, I'm gonna play this off this. You're looking at like Vincenzo quest for 3, Surfer Stitch 2, and like stuff like that. Like you still like have outs to those cards eventually, like assuming that you're getting to like turn whatever. And sometimes you just like don't care about their guy. You're just like, all right, whatever, we're gonna race or something. Like that's like one of the things that I think separates Lorcana in a good way though. Honestly, like I'm okay with like not cheating things into play that like actually just ruin your game, right? But like, I mean, if Mickey comes down turn 3, you're probably losing. But you get what I mean. Go ahead.
All 3 of us are gonna lose to turn 3 Mickey at some point, and I'm okay with that. And I think that's pretty sick for what it's worth, right? I'm here for it.
Crash out chat is going to be for that. All right, go ahead, Bo. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say you're just constantly like pointing us towards that crash out channel. No, no, but
I think it's good. Everyone needs it.
mhm. But no, you do make a good point that the card is inkable. Although I agree with like you both, like Nate, you said the card's probably not going to be a build around card, but like just because it is inkable, I could definitely see it as just like a tech card or like a one of that you put in a deck just because like it's inkable. That's just a lot of people forget how important that is, um, to have on a card. And we got our first like insane sing together song that is inkable because I believe like all the other ones basically are uninkable. But that's my
Well,
thoughts on the card.
well, there is one really good Sing Together song that's inkable, and it's called Pirate's Life, and that one's coming back. I didn't put that as my card for this, but I just wanted to be like, that is a good one. I'm just saying.
That is
Yo,
true. That is
Billy.
true. Let's see here. So that those are my 2 cards that I chose. So we'll go on to Christian's next. So why don't you introduce your cards, Christian, and tell us about them?
Yeah, so I'm gonna introduce them both, and we can talk about them as is. My reprint card that I'm most excited for is Under the Sea, and it was actually like I would say like in my top 3 list of cards that I wanted back in the game. I understand like if I had the choice, like Be Prepared's like my favorite card in the game. I'm a filthy Ruby enjoyer, and like but deep down I knew they probably weren't gonna reprint it right now. So I'm like, what's like the next fairest board wipe that they probably could? And I think like Under the Sea really hit the nail on that. It's like a weird card, I think. I think it's like when you think of like cards they have to like bring into the game, they have to like include like flavor, right? I think like Under the Sea like kind of oozes like good flavor for a Disney trading card game from like a super iconic song. And I think the card itself is good in against the decks it's supposed to be good into, and with such a strong effect, and like pretty bad into the ones that aren't, right? Like I like one thing about it is like we have like Sapphire Coil still existing, right? But like we have to have cards in our hand to activate Sapphire Coil to do this, which I think a lot of like I've talked to a lot of people that were like kind of afraid of this, and I think people don't realize like how strong the cost is of Sapphire Coil when we don't have Hiram Flaversham or like Maurice's Workshop to just like negate all of that. Like the games you don't have that, you're not using Sapphire Coil because you're just gonna lose because you have nothing left in the hand, right? So I'm curious, like if there's other ways that we can find more ways to break, not necessarily break this card, but leverage it, right? Because like in terms of like this was like a big Sisu, which is very similar. It's not even close to a big Sisu level of play. I mean, you don't have like a 5/4 3 questing dump stick on the field, right? But Sing Together is like very powerful. Like a high, like there's like a new Sing Together song in, I think it's Range of Far, Heads Held High, which could be a really strong way to actually like leverage this card in a specific archetype, like a blue green control deck. Um, that's what I'm excited about with Under the Sea. Um, and then the other card that like the new card that I'm excited about is Roxanne, the Ruby one, the 2 cost 2/3 quest for 1. But if you have a Stinger on the field, she becomes Mr. Smee as a 3/3 that quest for 2. Um, I don't know how good this card is for what it's worth. I'm really interested by it though, because they're pushing so heavy into this like Stinger deck for Ruby, in the 30 cards that their new cards are releasing for this set. So they're like trying to push it pretty hard, which I think is really cool. And in a world where like I've always just said, like in a world where there's no Mr. Smee, anything close to Mr. Smee is still probably like good enough. So even if you don't have like a Singer, like a card with like Singer 3 turn 1, just being able to like slam like a max goof, one of the Singer 5s or something. And now all of a sudden you have a 2 cost 3/3. It seems like pretty efficient to me. What do you guys think about those cards?
Okay. Uh, so so this is like the one, like I don't mean to dumpster other people's picks, but I think Roxanne is a trap personally. That card to me, like if you think about the game states where Mr. Smee is like really really good, you don't like he's just good by himself. Like after like all of your crap has been killed or whatever, and you just like play the dude, you're like, all right, I get 3 turns of questing for 2 if this is uninterrupted. And I think Roxanne is gonna suffer from just not being good enough if you don't have a singer. Like I think if there are enough efficient singers, then like I'll eat my words like immediately. But I think that Roxanne is a little bit like just too, like I always look at her as an inkable 2/3 that's gonna maybe have upside rather than like always looking at the upside. So like that's like the one time where I'm gonna like dumpster pick a little bit, but I still think she's a cool card. I just don't know that I'm in love with that card. And then Under the Sea, obviously, I mean Ruby and Joy are very much so on Be Prepared Copium. I do think there are a couple cool ways that you can do this that aren't like super negative all the time. Is like what I think Sapphire decks are gonna flock to the card All Is Found, the like 5 cost ramp spell. So I think that that's one way where you don't go crazy hand negative to be able to like double Sapphire Coil some stuff and then like Under the Sea, which it might be like optimistic assuming we get that far. I don't know for sure, and I do like the heads held high thing, but that's kind of my takes on those cards. I think Under the Sea is a very fair card, but I do love me some Be Prepared, and I'm gonna miss it if we don't get it back. Vo, go ahead.
You and me both.
Yeah, no, I I was afraid of a meta where we did not have like a real board wipe, because then that just invites, kind of aggro decks to just reign supreme almost. So I'm glad to see Under the Sea come back, and like you were saying, that those are the decks that you're wanting to use that card for, like you were saying, Christian. So I'm glad to see Under the Sea come back. I myself am from time to time been known to be a blue green aficionado. I love playing that deck too. So I've under the seed many of people before, and that just feels pretty good with a in a slower meta, slightly slower meta, and where you can get off those sapphire coils, like you were saying, feels great. And then on Roxanne, when I first saw her, I wasn't floored like how I saw Hades. Like I think that it's a cool card, and it's like Nate was saying, it's a kind of situational one where you gotta have the singer out if there's not enough singers to make that like happen all the time. I really see that card not seeing it like too much play. It's either gonna, this is my prediction. Roxanne is either gonna be a four of in a deck or none of in a deck. That's my thoughts on Roxanne.
I think that's like a pretty clear description of how I think a lot of people see Roxanne. It's like either this card is good enough to play in a deck, or this card is trash, right? I think both are super fair picks for it. Very very trappish, right?
All right. Anything else you guys want to say on these two cards, or should we go over to Nate's cards?
I'm ready to hear Nate's. I want to hear it. I got opinions to share. I want to hear
So,
his opinions.
so obviously, I didn't pick cards that were any other color other than ruby. Um, so my two picks for reprints, I am extraordinarily excited about Be King Undisputed, which is not a sentence I thought I would say by the end of Set 8 meta, because I have not seen a single person play that card recently. But we don't have very good removal post rotation, and I think that this card is probably like our key point. Like, I'm going to talk about with the next card I'm going to talk about in a second here, why I think that this card is like very reasonable. But I think there's just going to be a lot of spots where you're just going to like trade with dudes and you're going to get very good B King value, and it's just one of the best on rate removal spells that we're going to have currently. And then as far as new cards, I did cheat a little bit. I said Powerline and I didn't give a sub name because I'm pretty excited about the 6 cost Powerline like most people. That card is very much so a build around card though. I think if we have like three songs that you're happy to sing with him, like you're in like a pretty solid position. Maybe 4 is probably the right number, but a 6/4 that like Quest for 2 is like really strong. Um, but I'm actually more so excited even about 2 cost Powerline that's a Stinger 4. This is my trap card that is I'm gonna be Roxanning by the end of this set probably, because I think that just the ability to be able to go play my guy turn 3, sing Be King Undisputed is like a very good play that I'm excited to make. And he will inevitably die to rhinos, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Hopefully he can kill a few rhinos like that. But these are the cards that I'm most excited about in current reveal season.
He's gonna be king of Rhino. What are you talking about? That's the ploy. Gonna be Kingdom Rhinos.
See, and not let's not like down his stats now. He has a very special stat line that's very different from the other four singers. He's a 3/2 body if I'm not mistaken. So
He's a
if
three
Rhino
two.
does come in, he's gonna be risking putting one damage on himself and making himself vulnerable. So that's, I only see upside to that card, honestly. I really like that 3/2 stat line on a singer, because usually
Yeah.
when you think of singers like Troubadour and Ursula, they all only have one might, and they're you don't normally do too much with that if they don't have any songs. But this the power line can definitely perform on its own, even if it doesn't have a song to sing. So I really like the
Yeah.
card too.
It is really interesting. I really I really hope we get at least like one or two more Ruby songs to like kind of encompass this package, because like there is like I'm excited for the archetype. I don't know how good it is. Like on face value, Powerline reads really good, but there's also like a huge world where like the songs you can sing just don't matter, right? Like my wife Hannah has been playing an Amber Ruby songs deck, which has actually been really sweet. And it's been like a good, I would say like a good roguish deck, right? Where you get to play like all the good cards like Shark and Rapunzel and all that, and you still like play Ariel in that deck. And Ariel in a deck like that is so different from a deck with Zeus and Strength and Storm and Whole New World. Like there's like this weird like the songs we sing in Ruby are usually not removable songs, unless it's like Beat King, which I think is an amazing reprint as well, like you said, Nate. But it's like they're like extensions almost. They're like extenders almost. You could almost say like weird ways to like draw cards or read your guys and make challenging more efficient. I would love to see some like another song that can either impact the board or gain card advantage in some capacity, like very direct, right? That's my hope for that archetype.
So like the one thing with 6 cost power line that I'm like really interested in is I actually think like it's not completely straightforward what color you're gonna play with him. So like I think many of us the first thought was like, okay, you play your power line, you down on New Orleans, you get like a shark or another power line, and you do the crazy thing, which I think could be like really cool if we're in a slower metagame, but then you just get like Hades and you just like cry. But like that's beside the point. I think there's a lot of like really interesting stuff you can do from all the different decks. Like even Amber Ruby, like we were talking about, like you can actually play one of those cards, right? You could play Circle of Life for like a lot of value maybe off of that card. I don't know, like I said, I don't know for sure. Power line to me is either going to be like really sick or it could just be another trap. Like I'm very open to saying that that card is a trap, but I think that there's a world where like we get one or two more songs that were like that just read awesome that say like draw a bunch of cards or like kill a bunch of things or like do something crazy and we are like in. We are just like in it. So I'm very interested to see how the card pans out for sure.
See, it's funny that you should bring up Ariel. That's kind of how I feel about Powerline because he kind of has a very similar effect. You're gonna look at the top four for a song to potentially play for free, and I believe like at least everybody here we've all been burned by Ariel before, and I feel like that's gonna be a very real thing. Like I think that's gonna be the determining factor if you know if you can trigger that secondary effect from Powerline, like that's gonna be where he gets his value. I think him being like a shift four singer nine, that is a very to me that's a very fair thing. In a world where be prepared does not exist, so it's gonna be up to the secondary effect, I think, to see where he ranks. And the nice thing, another nice thing about Powerline too, is he has a very, very good buddy in Maui Shark. Like that card, is always even if you don't go the Powerline route, just going right into a Shark, that's gonna be a lot of times. That's probably gonna be more than enough. Just get into the Shark, and then the Powerline just coming in and potentially, like I can see a world where he sings Pirate's Life. You look at the top card, it's another Pirate's Life. So you just took 4 lore from your opponent and you just went up 6. Like that's just insane high roll value, and that's how I look at Powerline too. It's another high rolly type of card. And then on B King Undisputed, I do like the card, and it's very powerful. But that card has as a blue steel player, that card gave me so many nightmares back in like set 4 and 5. Like that card's just
Classic. I'll be king of crab.
yep.
How many times have we heard that when we played
Mhm.
DLCs?
Yep, I'm gonna ramp to a big tink. Oh, B King Undisputed. Oh, great.
Yeah, seems over my rabbit. Drew a card first.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I do
it's
like
nice to
that the
have
cards come
these.
back.
I do too. I think it's great to have like these edict type of effects to like always like at least force players to think about it. It's like a great way to like kind of catch players that don't respect these types of cards, right? I'm a huge fan.
I would add too, like I think B King coming back is like just another great thing that like I really feel confident in how they're designing the format a little bit, and like you don't have like obvious answers. Like the answers we're getting to things are strength, which is very very good card, but like is reliant on like your board state, and then like B King, which again is just like it you can like if you're facing Amber Steel, like there's a real chance that they just go, okay, cool, my Daisy's dead, but like now I have 2 rhinos, like cool. But like I like
Yeah.
the design that they're going with here, and that like you have to kind of work for things or set up board states that make sense to like do these things, which is overall from a gameplay perspective, whether I like it or not, as a Ruby Amethyst enjoyer, is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's cool to like force us as players to have to play with different cards and learn different ways to beat stuff, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I we've gone through all the cards now, so I just like just like an overall statement. I'm very excited for Fabled. Like I said, I've been playing since set one. The meta, while from an outsider's point of view, is gonna look very open with all the different decks that can potentially perform well right now. It's just been like slight small changes of those same decks that we've been playing for probably the last four sets. I want to say now. Realistically,
Yeah.
not much has changed in play patterns. So I'm excited for a shake up in our gameplay. It almost feels like a brand new game is coming. So I'm very excited for rotations coming up with all these new cards. Are there? So I know that we went over our picks here. Any honorable mentions that you guys want to talk about before we head on to yep, all you Christian.
Uh, This was actually revealed today. But a card it's like such a subtle card, but I think it's so good to have reprinted is Developer Brain. Like it truly is like one of those cards that like you don't think about like how impactful it is in your deck until you play a deck that has 8 ways to ramp on two, and you keep one develop in your hands, hoping that the other six are ramp, and they aren't. But your one develop turned into a 2 cost ramp because you kept it. Is so powerful, and it's just like it's extra consistency, right? Like we're just seeing like so many ways to like I like at least from what I'm seeing so far, like removal isn't going to be like as big of an issue, I think, for the decks that start to rise to the top of the metagame eventually, because the cream always rises in metagames. That's just how it goes. And I actually don't think removal is like going to be like the hardest thing to figure out. It's like it's draw and consistency, right? Like I think it's going to be played so similarly to like a sealed or a draft type format, because there's not ways to refill your hand so early on with like friends on this side or Diablo or discard John type of cards or Ariel, right? That like I think a lot of people early on are going to be like they're gonna like play like a deck, like an Amethyst deck, and they're gonna like slam like a bunch of 1 drops on like 1, 2, and 3 that don't replace themselves, and they kind of just die because they get stuck at like 3 or 4 ink with no cards in their hands, right? Like it's gonna be like I think there's definitely gonna be a lot of games where like you have to ink your 1 drop and pass because you want every card that you play, because you're drawing so few, to be impactful, right? Just like in a sealed or a draft type format. So I'm excited for that because I really enjoy playing in those types of formats.
Yeah, and
Um,
then
oh,
oh, go ahead, Nate. You're good. You're good. Good.
okay, yeah, I was Developer Brain is definitely like an interesting one. I suck at playing that card, so like I am not happy it's coming back if I ever want to play Sapphire. Like I just like, oh great, I gotta figure out 2 cards and the decisions are always wrong. Which we had talked about off air actually is like one of the hardest things about those like red blue decks is like there's just so many choices to be made. But card honorable mention, obviously another one that we talked about off air was Dumbo, which is the 4 cost 3/3 evasive that exerts draw a card and gain a lore, and then you can pay one and exert your other evasive dudes to do that. I think that this card is like very feast or famine and is either going to be like really really solid or just like very very bad because it's very slow. But I like it because like it seems very strong on the face of it, and there are like I think as a Ruby Amethyst enjoyer, like the case that I gave to you guys when we were talking before was like Shark, where you quest him and he just does nothing because they don't want to quest their guys. It like that's a great example of where I could see Dumbo actually making a very good appearance in that deck. And I don't know that for like the aggro style decks, it wants to be in that sort of deck. So I'm really excited for slow, crappy mid range game plans that I love to play. So we'll see if that card makes a splash or not.
True good Lorcana, dirtily mid range decks. You'll love to see it.
Dirtly mid range. No, mid range is where it's at. Everybody has a shot in mid range battles, but no, like kind of to both of your points, with the new meta, Christian, you were saying like how it's gonna kind of feel like a limited format. Um, another thing that I'm really excited about the new set is I've and this is not speaking anything about myself. This is just like a statement because I feel like the new set with it being a little bit slower and kind of feeling like a limited format more. I feel like there's going to be a lot more room for skill expression between individual players than there is now. And just my personal thoughts on the current meta is like all of the decks have, and you guys have heard me say this before, but just for our listeners, like I feel like almost every deck that is performing that all the decks that are doing well right now have a high roll potential and you could just hit that high roll potential and beat just almost anybody if you hit that and with with a slightly slower less high rolly type is how I'm feeling about the new set anyway. I could be proven wrong. I think there's going to be a lot more room for skill expression in both deck building and in live gameplay, and that's what I'm excited for. Even though I'm gonna, consistently lose to the likes of Scott Markison, it'll be it'll be fun.
Yeah, just to like add to that, because we are kind of like with this being the last weekend of set champs coming up here, we are kind of like sunsetting set eight, and this like kind of like whatever feeling you have right now, that's kind of it, right, on this set. So like, I think I talked to Yuvo one time about it, and it was a big like, this is like the ideal TCG metagame to people on the outside, right? If you like ask somebody, they go like, we have a pile of diversity. You could win us at champs with like, I mean, tier three decks. We're not talking about like something crazy out of like blue yellow could technically win us at champs recently. Like honestly, but there are a lot of times where it doesn't feel good, and I think the answer is exactly what you said, right? Where it's just like every good deck has an actual high roll, except for Ruby Amethyst. We don't really have a high roll. We just curve into your guys and you just like draw cards. But anyways, like all of the like really really ridiculous decks have a high roll like of doing something by turn two that you're just like, oh my god, like how do I deal with this right now? Like even if it's just like ramping or like playing a bell or whatever, like there's just so many high rolls in this format, and that's why I think people are actually low key tired or fatigued by it a little bit. So that's kind of my closing thoughts on set 8.
Anything else you want to add, Christian, or otherwise? I think, as they like to say, we are going to turns now. This is going to be turn zero. Do you want to say anything on turn zero here before we close this out?
Yeah, going on turn zero, that's so cringe. But to kind of follow up with what Nate said, as like a good sunset to set eight, I being blunt, I'm excited to get rid of it. Like you said, there is like a ton of diversity if you look at it from like a specific lens, but like not only does every deck have like this crazy high roll that just like well he just he curved into whole new world perfectly, or he shifted Diablo, slung friends, and took my bank card. There's some things you just can't stop, right? There's also just like an equally large number of like every deck has one just 20% matchup that is you just need like the luckiest hands ever just to beat, right? And it's super frustrating because like sometimes like you go to a set champ and like you feel like winning the mat, right, is like kind of like this like kind of the goal and the glory of it and some of that, right? But like if you I want to mat this set champ, and like I can easily say, looking back, I was like, yeah, I ran into only good matchups, and I didn't run into I played Red Blue Shark. I didn't run into discard at all. Or no, that's not true. I ran into one discard deck, and he drew so bad both games. I'm like, oh well, there we go. I did the thing. I got lucky, And there's just so much of that, and it's like really unfortunate, right? To like I feel like when I'm making a choice for this upcoming metagame, it's truly just a matter of which deck do I feel like I want to play in terms of like what I think maybe the bracket's going to be. But like it doesn't matter. Like I could be playing red blue in a field of 80% steel selling, and I'll still hit the 20%, right? Like it just So it is just a matter of just split what you're comfortable with, and everything's so strong, like you said, that like if the world champion in a triple deck format doesn't play a single set 8 card, it's like, well, that's probably pretty telling, isn't it? That everything else is just too good. So I am excited to get rid of it. I'm excited that all these reprints that we're getting are frankly not good cards in the grand scheme of Lorcana, and but
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Some of
they're
those are
just
Ruby
good
Amethyst
enough.
cards, Christian. Settle down for like two
Some
seconds. Some of those are...
some of them are Ruby Amethyst cards, and you know what? Like, it's you're not wrong, but like they're not the good Ruby Amethyst cards. They're like the Ruby Amethyst cards that were picked last in Kickball,
bottom of the barrel
and
stuff.
but that's okay though. Yeah, and that's okay though, because like we're forced to have to design decks around that versus just like saying like, well, my dock deck got maybe one new card out of Jafar, maybe I'll play it, but the rest is just good enough, right? We have to play some clunkers, and I think I'm excited for that. I love playing bad cards, so.
All right, and with all of that, we're gonna this is our first one ever, but we're gonna try to end all of our videos for you viewers by telling you about upcoming events because that's ultimately what everybody here at on Team Arcana, that's what everybody strives to do. Is we very much enjoy these Lorcana events, so we're gonna always end our sessions by telling you what's coming up. And on our list here, and obviously we're going to be missing a few. Always feel free to go in the comments and tell us about other ones that we might have missed, but um, we'll go in the order of when they're going to be happening. No Limit Gaming has a cash tournament coming up on the 23rd of August, so that's coming up very soon. Another thing that's coming up very soon, a little bit closer to home here, is going to be the Minnesota anniversary event for celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Lorcana. A lot of crazy stuff happening there. I'm just going to talk on it a little bit more just because it hits to home for all of us. Scott Markison, our hometown hero, he donated his Whole New World pin to it. And that's just going to be a raffle. We're not, duking it out for it. We're not playing for it. He just donated that. So that's just going to be, randomly raffled to everybody that shows up on Saturday. It is a 2-day event. All of that's going to be on social media. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that already. And then right after that is going to be the release of Fabled, and a lot of release day events. The ones that we know of here are TFM and the Encounter have an 8-case release tournament on August 30th. And then another tournament is going to be the SSG Invitational on the 31st. That's going to be streamed. Everybody that's up and coming, but it's an invitational only, so only people who are invited is going to go there. But it's going to be some great gameplay by some amazing players. That's why it's an invitational. They earn their spot there. And then next month we have the CCS $25,000 invitational qualifier. This is their first of, I believe, 4 qualifiers, and that is the weekend of September 6th and 7th. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go there because I'm going to be busy, but if I wasn't, I would definitely be going there. And then we have PPG's 50K Summit in Denver on September 12th through the 14th, so a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. Also sounds like a ton of fun, but I will unfortunately again be busy. But you may see a few of our Arcana team members out there. We're still working on getting all of our branding stuff, so look forward to seeing all of that. Any closing statements from let's start with you, Nate. Yeah.
So anniversary event is going to be the last Set 8 event that I'm like truly excited to play because we do have Porcana on Sunday, and I've never really played Porcana, so I'm pretty excited to like mess around with some really bad cards, some commons and uncommons, and see what we can cook up with for the last tournament of Set 8. And then I believe, again, I might be wrong, so if I am, whatever, but SSG is Infinity, so that'll be like one of our first Infinity tournaments that we get to see what people are kind of cooking up. I imagine there's going to be a lot of Blue Steel, Hiram Flaversham shenanigans, but it'll be interesting to see what people end up doing for that too. So that's kind of like some closing thoughts on tournaments coming up.
Yeah, I guess any closing thoughts I have? I'm excited for all these. I will be going to the CCS event in September, so if anyone sees me there, feel free to say hi. It'll be a good time, hopefully. And then I don't think I'm going to Denver, unless I, on a whim, take a flight the same day on a early morning Saturday, go play, and leave on Sunday, which I'm very tempted to do for what it's worth. I played at the Texas one, and it was a lot of fun. So gotta gotta see how far I can go in the old PPG circuit.
But yeah, guys, so if you guys have watched to this point, thank you guys so much for watching. This is the first of hopefully many videos from Team Arcana. It's a new team. I guess you can say that we're based here in Minnesota, but it's more of a coincidence than anything. We will be introducing more of our team members as we go. You guys are just being introduced to the first three here. Uh, don't forget to, like the video, share it, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. On all of our socials, I'm gonna hopefully have them all in the the comments here for everybody. But a lot of us have been on the competitive circuit, and we our claim to fame is we all know Scott Markison. No, we're gonna it's gonna be a good year. We're gonna be documenting a lot of our travels, and it's gonna be a lot of fun stuff. So thank you everybody again for watching the very first podcast for Team Arcana, and we are checking out. So thanks again. Bye everybody.
Bye.